Okay,
Are
we're
we
live.
good to go?
Yep, we're live.
Excellent. Okay, so good evening, everybody. My name's David Searles. I'd like to welcome all those present to the meeting. And can I remind you all to turn off your mobile phones? And I ask all those present to introduce themselves, members and officers. And we can do that now.
Should we go down the list?
As attendees, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm top. So my name is Councillor Alan Squaresky. I'm the portfolio holder for finance and resources, including HR. And Alison is next.
Can someone call out the names if that's all right? Because I don't think everybody has the attendance list.
No, that's all right. Can't say.
It's Alison. I'll read the names out.
Yeah, perfect.
Anne Lyons.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anne Lyons. I'm representing NAHT on the teachers' side.
Charlie Stewart.
Good evening, Charlie Stewart, Corporate Director for Resources for the Council.
Councillor Angela Murphy-Strawn.
Hello everyone, Councillor Angela Murphy-Strawn and Councillor for Edgware Ward.
Councillor John Hinckley.
Hello everyone, good evening. Councillor John Hinckley, Hatch End Ward Councillor, standing in for Councillor Benjamin.
Councillor Mina Palmer.
Good evening, I'm Mina Palmer, Conservative Councillor for Belmont Ward.
Councillor Pamela Fitzpatrick.
Yes, hello. Pamela Fitzpatrick, Councillor for Headstone South Ward.
Councillor Varsha Palmer.
Thank you. PH for Environment, and I am reserving for Graham Henson. Thank you.
Dawn Calvert.
Hi, I'm Dawn Calvert, the Council's Director of Finance and Insurance.
Hugh Peart.
I'm Hugh Peart. I'm the proper officer for these purposes.
John Griffiths.
John Griffiths, Corporate Health and Safety and Compliance Manager for the Council.
John Royal.
John Royal from Harrow Unison.
Louise Crimmins. Morgan Connolly Hernandez.
Yeah, Morgan Connolly Hernandez from Unison.
Nick Powell.
Hello everyone, Nick Powell, Physical Director of Housing.
Nick Ashes from IT. John Nobleman.
Yeah, John Nobleman here. Sorry. Yeah, John Nobleman, Regional Organiser, Unison.
Pamela Belgrave.
Pamela Belgrave, GMB Branch Secretary. Just apologies for Anne Jones for GMB.
Paul Walker.
I'm Paul Walker, Corporate Director of Community.
Tracy Connage.
Tracy Connage, Director of HR.
And Councillor Camilla Bath.
Councillor Camilla Bath can only be here by telephone. My computer has gone kaput and they couldn't get me on my iPad. So I will only be hearing things. I don't know how I make myself known that I want to speak, except to shout. I'm from Stanmore Park Ward.
Excellent. I think they're done. Okay, so can I just refer members and officers to the published protocols for holding these virtual meetings and take note of the following. Members, please ensure that you have your videos on at all times and microphones on mute unless speaking. In case of any technical problems, the meeting may adjourn until the issue is resolved. If the technical problem persists and the meeting is incorrect, the meeting will be abandoned and rearranged for a later date. Just so everyone knows, this meeting is being audio and video recorded and will be available on the website. Attendance by what?
It's Councillor Camilla Bath here. How will I be able to say I want to speak if you have to sign.
Camilla,
I haven't.
Camilla, as it's you, I'll allow you to shout out at any time you feel the need to come into the conversation, and we will invite you in that way. Everyone else has the option, obviously, to raise their hands via the Teams button.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we've already had apologies from Councillor Henson and Councillor Benjamin, and their reserves are Councillor Palmer and John Hinckley. So next, I'll ask if there are any declarations of interest from anybody in the forum. Please, when declaring interest, identify the item on the agenda, state the nature of the interest, whether it's disclosable, pecuniary or non-pecuniary, and outline the interest itself. If it is a disclosable pecuniary interest is declared, then the member must leave the room during the discussion and the discussion making on the relevant item. Take that as no declarations. I can't see any hands. So if everybody's happy to proceed, we will move on to the minutes of the previous meeting. This will only be to agree their accuracy. There will be no further discussion regarding the items in the minutes. And the minutes start on page 10. The minutes start on page 7, page 8, page 9. We're all in agreement that they are an accurate reflection of what was discussed at our last meeting. I know it was a short one.
Yeah, happy with that.
All agreed. Excellent. Minutes are agreed and that has been noted. There are no public questions submitted today. So therefore, we are going to move on to the main part of the agenda. And the first part of the agenda is the draft revenue budget, which will be presented by Dawn Calvert. And I'm asking Dawn to come and present.
Chair, I would like to raise a point of order on this. I've been asked to read out the following statement on behalf of...
Hold on.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Right. Okay, Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah.
What is your point of order?
So, on behalf of the branch, I've been asked to read out the following statement. Due to the recent events and the seriousness of the issues surrounding health and safety, namely the evidence that has come to light in the respect of fraudulent activities within this council, we have reluctantly had to report the matter to the police. We are therefore unable to participate in any discussion in respect of health and safety at this time. That's all from my unison on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. I'd say it's a competent point of order. And we will move on to Dawn for Dawn to present her draft revenue budget. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just, if it's okay with yourself, Chair, I'll just do a very couple of minutes update, assuming that people have read the report, and then just offer for people to ask any questions. So here we've got the draft budget report for next financial year 21-22 and the 3-year MTFS. It is at the draft stage, and we're bringing it to you this evening as part of our general consultation process on the budget. It's quite a long report. I will assume that you've read the report. It's perhaps slightly differently than what we've seen in the past. So what we're doing in this report, it's been a very challenging budget process. Obviously, we all know around the challenges around the COVID pandemic. It's been quite challenging in what type of settlement the authority is going to get for next year. We thought we were going to get a 3-year settlement, and then got told to get a 1-year settlement. budget for next year has been cancelled. So in terms of our funding, it's been quite a challenge. So what we've got here is we've got the draft budget. The draft budget is prepared before the council gets what they call its indicative statement from the government, which we received just before Christmas, hence why it's draft, and then we update that to bring the final budget. I mean, one of the key issues in this budget also recommends the council tax increase for next year, which is one of the key tools of the budget. So as it's very clear, it's recommending a 4.99% council tax increase for next year. So that's 1.99% core council tax and 3% for the adult social care precept. I think from my colleagues across London, that's replicated pretty much across London. It's slightly different in we're obviously the budget explains where we're going to put growth into the budget, primarily for our demand-led frontline services, adults and children's, and there's money going into the Communities Directorate for growth. What you won't see in this budget, which you've probably maybe seen in other budgets where we have had a budget gap and we have perhaps had to go down that traditional route of reducing services, we haven't done that this year, just because of all the challenges around the funding settlement, the challenges of people's capacity, etc., being taken up on the pandemic. So what we did choose to do at the draft budget stage is close the budget using a number of reserves, with a view to working towards a plan in summer when we've got all the settlement out and we've sort of had a much clearer position on where our finances were. So what this draft budget does show is that a balance of £6 million worth of reserves is used to plug. Sorry, I use my accountancy terms, is used for the budget gap. Just to offer some reassurance to the members of the committee is that by the time we produce our final budget going forward to February Cabinet, the number of reserves using to balance the budget for next year has reduced considerably to less than £1 million. So we will be. So what the draft budget does is we are required to set a balanced budget for next year, and that's what we will be doing. And then the draft budget just shows some very challenging figures for the council's MTFS. But as we've explained in this report, is we needed to get our financial settlement, and then we'll be working towards a summer period of how the organisation is going to look forward to its financial challenges. And that's really all I wanted to say, Chair, if that's okay. And I'll open to questions if Adam wanted to add anything.
Well, that's great, Paul. Thanks.
Is there a likelihood then, Dawn, Adam, that for the budget for 21-22, would we be considering sort of cutting services based on the direction in which things are heading currently?
So I step in that one, Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. Thanks, Councillor. I mean, it's a very good question. So obviously for this coming financial year, so from April, we're not proposing to make any cuts to frontline services in the budget. But we are, as you rightly say, showing that there are significant gaps in the future. And I think one of the things that we're all waiting for in the local government sector is a bit more certainty about our financial future. Without that, if we were in the same position coming up towards the end of the year, I would, and myself and Dawn would be forced to prepare a draft budget which would have, significant savings, significant cuts in it. I'm very hopeful that that won't happen because we will get more certainty about our future funding, but that can't come soon enough to avoid us having to start at least contemplating that route. Obviously, we just can't be in a position like some of the authorities that are now, declaring Section 151 notices. So we'll always make sure that we're financially stable authority, but there's a limit to what we can achieve without government providing us with that medium-term certainty.
Absolutely. Right. Thank you, Councillor. You're doing an amazing job.
Camilla Barth here. Can I just ask a question, please?
Go ahead, Camilla.
Thank you. Did I hear right that the 3% of the 4.99% is going to social care?
Yes, that's correct. We are allowed to raise a 3% adult social care precept that is used for adult social care services.
Will that be adequate?
What the report shows for next year is that the adults directorate is forecasting approximately 6.3 million pounds worth of demand pressures for next year. The value of the precept, so that 3%, and the additional grant money that we are generating in and that has been given to us, because during the settlement we got £326,000 extra of additional social care grants, and that's money that comes into us, shows that the value of those two sums together is approximately £4.3 million. Obviously that is short of the 6.2. So what the draft budget is having to do is having to put further growth on top of the precept and the grant to provide the level of growth that the Adult Services Directorate are forecasting.
I see. And then that leaves only 1.99% for everything else. Are there any particular things there that you're picking out that are getting the major part of that, please?
The other areas that we're putting growth into is we are having to put some growth into the children's services to accommodate placement costs, and we are putting growth into the Communities Directorate to fund particularly around their waste fees. And that is where the big areas of the growth that are going into the budget. We do have some other additional funding coming in. So, for example, we've got an underspend on our capital flexibilities. On the cost of our freedom passes, which we can then, because we had planned to spend that in our budget, we're now not going to do. We can transfer that into growth at the front line at where it is required. So we use not only the money that we're getting in from the council tax, but any other areas as well where we are going to get a little bit of a benefit on our budget that we can put into those pressure areas.
Can I jump in also on that, because I think there are, last year we had particular part of the budget which was around targeted investments, where we put money into things like school improvement. We put a chunk into council tax support because we know that scheme was nowhere near good enough. Community cohesion, a whole set of priorities, and I think this year clearly there's all sorts of things that just need to be met to keep kind of council services going. As you say, Councillor Bath, but there are some priority areas as well for any new investments. Clearly, we've got a whole programme of transformation across the council. In IT particularly, we've invested into HR. We've actually put more money into health and safety this year as well. But in addition to that, there's a strong focus on the equalities work that we're doing, and I think that will be an area for priority investment. And also, after following the council unanimous motion on the London living wage in November, that's another area that we will be looking to make investments into as possible, given what we've got.
Okay, thank you for that update. I heard most of it. It's a little bit difficult hanging on a phone. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Camilla and Adam. So, John Royal, you have your hand up, John? You're on mute, John.
Sorry, Adam. It's a question I asked you last year. Again, I'm hearing the rumours. Can you let me know, the rumours are down the depot that you're considering outsourcing of the services. Can you tell me, is that true?
So John, a couple of things. First of all, I hope that I'm known for my insourcing much more than my outsourcing. So we've brought in IT, and we continue to bring in services wherever possible. We talked to there's some others that we talked about as well. So my priority is always how do we insource, how do we strengthen our teams internally. Of course, we always contract out some services. So without knowing exactly which ones you're referring to, that I don't know of any plans to significantly change how much we contract out as a council. But if you let me know which services the rumours about, then of course we can try and work out, whether that's just rumour or whether there's anything to that.
The dust and gardening, Adam, down the depot. They're the ones. They're the ones that keep coming up. And I heard it from a good source last year, and you quashed it. Hopefully people have come to me and asked me the question again. It's down the depots, the gardeners, the dust and all that. The rumour is, once the depot's up and running, you're looking to outsource.
Well, I can obviously get more confirmation on that. From my perspective, I've had no conversations about outsourcing those kind of services.
Okay, thank you very much.
I see Councillor Pamela Fitzpatrick has her hand up. Pamela?
Yeah, just to John, I know, just concerned that there are those rumours, because it must be really worrying at this time with COVID and everything particularly. But just to say that anything like that would come to the group, it wouldn't be a sole decision of any councillor. So, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of the group would be very supportive to ensuring that things remain in-house rather than contracted out. So, just to give you some kind of reassurance that it's not any one person's decision, anything like that.
Sorry, but everybody uses COVID as an excuse now. It's all, whenever you want to go to the hospital, it's always COVID, I can't do this. And what a lot of people are concerned is, got no money. The easiest people to get rid of is down the depot. They're the low paid labour, and we're doing it for economical reasons. That's their concern.
Yeah, absolutely understand, Chair. So, I'd have the same concern. So I'd certainly be against it if it came up and would support it remaining in-house.
I mean, just to add to that, obviously we're investing hugely in that whole depot site, and it's a real priority for us to make sure that we didn't have the sort of two classes of citizen, that we're investing in that area as well. And the other thing around the Living London wage is that our big focus, we've worked a lot on making sure our own staff pay that, but our big focus is London Living Wage on any of our contracts. And so that would make it, that takes away any cost savings from outsourcing. So I think just to give some reassurance that would never be, that would not be a rationale for us.
Sorry, perhaps you could write a letter to the staff or something and let them know. We get no good news on these letters now. Perhaps you could write a letter saying they cause labour. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you for that, John, Adam and Pamela. I see Mr Walker has his hand up, Paul.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I mean, I'd just like to add to what Adam said, that absolutely no plans or work at all with regards to outsourcing any of the services that are operated from the depot. I think to the contrary, and I said this last year, as a corporate strategic board and as members, immensely proud of the work that the frontline services teams have done over recent months in very difficult and trying circumstances, and recognise, they've been at the forefront of delivery of those services. And we don't say thank you as often as we should or we would like. Each and every opportunity we take, we should say that. And absolutely committed to developing and strengthening an in-house workforce and the facilities and services that are provided there. I'm happy to talk with any members of staff at the depot who need to hear that, from me and or other members, to help reassure them. Understand that rumours do get around, whether organisations and people feel unsettled and nervous, but absolutely committed to developing and strengthening its in-house workforce.
Thank you, Paul, and we admire your commitment. Unfortunately, we do know that you will be leaving us soon, so we hope that whoever your replacement is also as equally committed to keeping services in-house.
I'm sure the members will make an appointment with those same qualities.
Excellent. See, some good news there, John. So, any other comments on the report, please? See no hands. Okay. Just a quick one from me. I see we have Andre Bothmer on the panel here. I'm not sure if he introduced himself, and could you explain the reason for his attendance today?
I chair. I'm just here as a support as part of IT to help members get on and the panel. So I'm not part of the panel as such.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for clearing out for me. So we have no further comments on the draft budget.
It's Camilla here. I think he's here for me. So don't let
Camilla,
him go.
No problem.
Thank you.
No, we'll hold on to him for you, Camilla. So we now move on to the annual health and safety report. Now, from the employee side, now we've got a major issue, referring back to Morgan's point of order. We cannot take part in any of the health and safety items related to this agenda tonight, because we have some issues with our report, which has been altered, let's say amended, edited, without our knowledge or consent.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
Sorry, Chair. Point of order. If you can't discuss it, you can't be saying all that.
Well, I'm explaining. Sorry, John. The reason
No,
that
but you're explaining the detail of why it's gone to the police. You can't be saying that at all. If you can't discuss it, you can't discuss any element of it.
All right, I will take that advice. So someone needs to explain where we're going to go from here then, because the next item on the agenda is the health and safety report.
Chair, could I ask a question? The matter that you're not permitted to talk about, presumably that is in relation to the additional report. I'm just thinking. I'm just wondering, because obviously the annual health and safety report. Yeah, there's the health and safety report, annual health and safety report, isn't there? And then there's the board update. And I wonder whether we might be able to at least cover the annual report, because that was deferred from last time. And then on the update, I think I have a question as a member, as you know, as the employee side report says, you know, we have a very strong responsibility around health and safety. And you know, we've had already some discussions. You know, I my role as portfolio holder, I don't think I'm, you know, discussions about making sure that there are no issues, pressing issues. So it's very important from a council perspective that we have sight of any issues, or that we're assured that it's going to the right forums, the health and safety forum. So those are my two questions really. One is, could we cover the annual health and safety report? And secondly, you know, how should we approach it from a councillor side, so that as much as the employee side, we've got some assurances around the actions being taken.
Can I come in here, Chair? I've had my hand up. I agree with Councillor Swirsky that as long as you don't discuss the reasons you went to the police, that we should be dealing with health and safety. I'd agree with Councillor Adam Swirsky, what he just said. But it's for you to rule, because I'm not part of the board. As long as we don't discuss that issue that you was going to discuss, that's fine. I think you should discuss health and safety.
Can I just, it's Councillor Barth here. May I ask if there is a legal person, am I not right in thinking that Hugh Peart is at this meeting?
Camilla, yes, I'm online.
Is there a legal? What I was trying to say is, with your legal hat on, well, you've always got it on, bless you. Are you? Should we leave it to the person who has said that we won't take any part and we don't think it should be discussed? Are you in agreement with that?
Camilla, whether Unison take part in the discussion is a matter for them, but the items on the agenda, Davis is chair of the meeting. He should allow such debate and discussion on the item as the rest of the members wish to have. There are other people in attendance, other unions in attendance in addition to Unison. If Unison don't want to take part, that's up to them, but there are other people, and the debate should happen with the people who are present, would be my advice.
But will that have any effect on the outcome of what Unison are looking for or looking to take on?
That's a matter for Unison. Miller, I don't know the answer. This is a consultative forum. The idea is to get the views of those present on the documents that are in the agenda. It's not a decision-making body. The idea is to get the views and to note them. So I would suggest that if people do have views on the reports, that we go through the reports one by one, and anybody who wishes to gives any views or reflections on them as we go through them.
And they will be protected in what they say.
I'm not sure, Camilla, protected from what?
That's what I don't know either. I don't know what the outcome, whether they would. Anyway,
Right, so,
I've noted what you said.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I see two hands up, John Royal and then Pamela Belgrave. John?
Yeah, the paperwork's been interfered with and we're totally unhappy with it. We're not prepared to discuss the health and safety report, but we would be willing to speak to the councillors maybe tomorrow or whenever it's convenient and put our side across. There's been serious interference with our report. We are extremely unhappy with it. This can't keep going on, but we are prepared to meet. If a couple of the councillors want to come and talk to us, we will put our side over. But from my side, I'm not prepared to sort of discuss any more the health and safety because it's getting nowhere. We put in a report, someone retracts a lot of the information on there. How can we put, what sort of fairness is that?
Okay, John, that point has been noted and the offer extended to discuss with councillors. Presumably you'll be doing that in conjunction with your regional officer, Mr. John Nobleman. I see a hand up, Pamela, and then John.
Okay, I think I just want to say I'm similar to Camilla, that if this is discussed, what are the implications of carrying on discussing this health and safety? I understand what John's saying, you know, it's health and safety, it's on the agenda, but whatever you're taking to the police or anything like that, could it potentially have conflict or implicate any of us being in this meeting and discussing this? If Hugh is saying no, I will go with that, but I do not, I'm sure the others do not want to be implicated or for whatever you're discussing with the police to be clouded because of what's happened here today. If you're not meant to be talking about something, then should we be discussing health and safety at all? I'm not sure legally.
Right, my understanding was this, that the police, we was advised by the police, or the branch were advised by the police not to discuss health and safety. We can't discuss it with the councillors tomorrow, although John Roy would like us to, but because it is now a legal aspect, Unison has to run it for our legal department. The minute you institute any kind of proceedings that can relate to litigation has to be run through Unison's legal department. So it's up to the meeting if they want to discuss it, but we can't have a meeting tomorrow with the councillors and the branch and the region. That can't happen tomorrow until we get the OK from our legal department.
Adam.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I would just echo the first of all that always really happy to meet with union colleagues, and we've always had good informal discussions alongside the formal discussions. So always happy to meet. I do take John's point though, that John Owen's point that if the matters can't be discussed here, then I don't think they can be discussed in private either. So we need to just be clear on that. But if there are other things that we can talk about in private, always happy to. But I do also think that we do have a whole series of governance mechanisms which are here for a reason. The Health and Safety Forum, which I don't believe has had sight of, we did not have the opportunity to discuss this. And it is a really important matter. So I think the Health and Safety Forum, I think ECF should have the opportunity to talk about it. And we are here tonight. And I think, I feel like the agenda should proceed because as councillors, we have just as much, interest as the union colleagues do in making sure that health and safety matters are taken very seriously by the council. So I'd be keen that we do discuss what we are able, those who are able to discuss and contribute tonight, do so, use the opportunity. We can always bring further matters back to a future ECF. And I also hope that, union colleagues will use all the other forums that are available to raise these issues as well, because we need, an operational level, it really needs to go through those forums to make sure that officers have, can respond and take action as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Adam. Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really sorry that it's come to this, that it's this serious. What I was going to say is what other people have said, is that it wouldn't be appropriate for any councillor to meet if things have been referred to the police and there's criminal issues outstanding. I assume the next step would be that the police will contact the council. That would be what would happen. So the council will have to wait to see what happens, and everything else are kind of consultative meetings or any informal discussions will have to be put on hold for all of that, I would assume. So, I think it's a shame that we should get to this point, particularly now, given this time everybody's so busy with dealing with the pandemic. So I don't know. I hope something could be resolved informally rather than going through any kind of legal proceedings, really. So if that can be done, I don't know, you'd need to take it back to Unison, your legal department, I guess. But it's not that I don't want to meet with you, but I just don't think it's advisable at all. So I'm sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Palmer, Mina Palmer.
Yes, I'm concerned that we've got to this and health and safety with the current climate with COVID. It's critical that we understand what's happening with our governance around areas of incidents, recording, all the things which are in the report. If this matter is going to the police, this report is going to be out of date. So how are we going to hold accountable for all the incidents we need to be aware of and all the areas of the report which is important to keep governance in place? So are we saying that we're suspending this part of the committee?
I'll come back to you. John Nobleman, please. Right, John's hand's gone down. John Royal, you're on mute.
John, go first, and then I'll come in.
Yeah, we're also very disappointed it's come to this level. Very disappointed. We do try our real best, but we're very sad it's come to this. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to reaffirm what Councillor Fitzpatrick was saying, and everybody else, that one, we can't really discuss it, and two, we would like to get this resolved informally without any litigation. So we will try and look at trying to deal with that. But as I said, because the branch has gone to the police, my hands are tied now. I have to get legal advice on it.
Thank you, John. So then I guess it's down to me as chair to make a decision on the way forward now. Now, from the employee side, we can't take part. If the feeling from the councillors is that they wish to continue and discuss the report, I'm happy for that to go ahead, but we, as the employee side, will not be taking part in that.
Camilla here. You know, there will be, if we don't discuss it today, I'm sure within a week or so we can fix another meeting. I know it's difficult, but I don't want to, and I don't want myself, I don't want to make a decision today that I'm not happy with, or that I do something that, or say something that will have an effect on the outcome. Also, we won't have everybody at this meeting. If how many will it leave in the room, wherever? If those of you that can't stay are leaving.
Before you answer that, Davis, can I come in? Sorry about this, people. But Pamela from GMB, why do you say employee side, Davis? The GMB hasn't said what their position is. Employee side, are you saying unison, or you can't speak on behalf of the GMB?
No,
Pamela?
no, that's just what I was going to clarify.
Right, well, can Pamela clarify, please? Pamela, are you there?
Pamela?
Sorry, yeah, I'm here. I'm just pressing my buttons. I would go with the majority. All that I've asked is that Hugh, from what Hugh's saying, is that there's going to be no implication for discussing that further document. I can't see how it's not going to cross over. And some parts of this document is going to still be discussed, what I'm assuming has gone to the police. But I think we all need to be assured by maybe Adam, because as chair you have declined, that this can go ahead and that there's going to be no implications for anybody that stays on it. That's all I can say from the GMB side, because I don't know what it is or what's gone. I just need to make sure that for myself and the members that we're protected.
Councillor Fitzpatrick.
I really don't think we can go ahead when a matter's been referred to the police. I don't think anything can go ahead. We need to know what is it being referred, what is the complaint, what is the nature of the criminal act, all of those things. I don't think anybody can. So I'm very happy to come back to a meeting later once the council's been notified of what the complaint is, what it involves, because anybody taking part, this is a public meeting, isn't it? So anybody, anything that's used could be used later against anybody on the meeting. So I really don't think, I mean, Hugh's probably best to give advice on it, but I think probably we need to wait and see what is the complaint for the council to then respond to that. The problem is it will all take time. So, you know, I think both sides need to kind of take legal advice, Unison, probably GMB and the other unions, and then we all come back together, because otherwise people could be implicating themselves in something unknowingly. So would be my suggestion.
It's Camilla here again. Can I just say thank you, Pamela, for that? And I think that that's right. And even if we don't, if we have made a mistake by not discussing anything tonight, we can bring it back quite quickly. But I tend to agree with yourself on this matter.
Councillor Murphy.
Yes, I just have to agree with Pamela, Councillor Fitzpatrick and Councillor Barr. We do not know what the potential consequences of these allegations are in respect of everyone on this forum. And I think in the name of sort of certainty and safety, I would agree that we need to not continue with this meeting until we have some clarity about what the alleged fraud is and how that is likely to affect what we do going forward. So I'm in agreement that we really ought not to proceed with the discussion on this.
Okay, I'm in agreement with that. I think the general consensus around the room is that we cannot move forward with the agenda today as it is. Is everyone in agreement with that?
Will the chairman close the meeting?
Yep.
Yep. So we will have the minutes will reflect that the draft budget has been noted, and the 3 remaining items on the agenda item 8, 9 and 10 will not be discussed, and we will have to return to a further meeting once the legal advice has been sought.
Thank you.
Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the next scheduled meeting is supposed to be the 10th of November. I have no doubt that we'll be meeting a lot sooner than that. So if everyone's happy or not happy, I would like to call this meeting to a close.
Thanks, everyone.
I wish you well. Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.